we have to distinguish this clearly from open access to research publications. The main difference is a publication is intended by the author to be publicized. Research data are as such not intended to be publicized. Then they are constantly, if you will, in a working mode. Saying that, we heard that access to research data is absolutely necessary for a sound research process. Research without access to data is like an engine without fuel. But you also know that when a researcher has a project and is generating data, he has an interest to exploit these data to a certain extent before he makes these data available for other parties. So when we formulate policies concerning access to data, we know that openness should be the default, but we have several legitimate reasons for either delaying or completely neglecting access to certain data because of privacy issues, because of security issues. So if research organizations ask for access or openness of data, they're not naive. They know that there are reasons to not make data available, but the principle should be clear. Now, we do have problems with access to research publications. We learned about that just now. Let me compare that and say that's a mouse. Now the problems we have with access to research data is the elephant. Because research data, in order to be made available to third parties, have to be worked on. That we have metadata to be added, explanations have to be added. And you cannot just take a research data like a file, a computer file, and send it just to somebody. You need all kinds of infrastructure to go with it. So we are in the situation right now because of the technical development for the first time in history to make research data available on a broad scale. That has not been possible before. Now, that's really new. So we can solve a problem we have been having for hundreds of years. But this takes investment in the infrastructure, and of course we have to build a new kind of professional, a new group of professionals, people who help scientists to bring the data into a form so they can be used. Now the vision we have is an infrastructure with all the publications freely available, with as much data as possible freely available, and the two things interoperable. That's the vision. In order to make this vision a reality, we do have to deal with intellectual property rights. That's part of the game. We heard this morning, some of you may have attended a session this morning, that maybe intellectual property rights are not such a big problem with data. In fact, it's not that easy. If you imagine a satellite measuring something and then sending a signal down to the Earth, and you get some kind of signal, then this signal will be processed several times, and it's not so easy to define what is raw data or research data, because there's a constant process of refinement. And within that process of refinement, people do add information to that. You know, they put what is in their head to these data. So that there can be stages at which we reach what we, I don't know the English word for that, we reach that stage that makes it protected by intellectual property. So we have to deal with that. But we do want to deal with that. That is, we want to build an infrastructure that will also have a slot to put intellectual property information in that, so we can respect this property. But if we have a policy we should try to license data and also publication where possible with standard licenses, because otherwise it's going to be really complicated to get this new kind of infrastructure. And I mentioned this new profession that is necessary. Not only do we need a new profession that will help the scientists, but also we will have to reward the scientists for making data available. Scientists are bright, but they're not saints. They want rewards too. Right now, when they publish, they get rewarded when they the traditional publications. If they prepare data to make them available for third parties, they're not rewarded. We have to change that. The idea of the Commission to start a pilot on data is something that's greatly supported by the research community. We really need that. And we do need conditions that make it safe for the research community or the research organizations to invest into the infrastructure which is needed. So we have to understand that this pilot has to be a first step. And we can change aspects as we think they need to be changed. But we have to have a clear vision. And the vision is to have this super machine that combines data and publications and makes them interoperable. And this will enable to accelerate science. It will make new, it will enable new views which we do not have right now. And this morning we were also talking about the, when Elmar talked about access of corporations to publications. And I have a very concrete example. A company in Germany